Hey, successful wives. Hope everyone is doing well. I am your host, DC Constant, and where we celebrate wives globally through personal and professional development. And today we are honored to have Leah Harris. Welcome, Leah. Leah is an administrator for a hospital in Texas. She's a mom of five boys and a wife of a musician, and she loves her family and she's dedicated to her family. Now, offline, Leah and I was chatting a little bit. Leah had expressed to me how unfortunately she experienced divorce in 2018, but she found love again, second time around, and she has currently been married for 3 years now. And so although I've never personally experienced a divorce, I can only imagine how heartbreaking that is. I've Women who have gone through this, whom I've spoken with, have stated that divorce is like a death, and is you're mourning the death
Yes.
of that marriage. So, uh, Leah, you want to just share with us what that experience was for you, and then how you found love again.
Absolutely. When I was actually in the process of the divorce, I think more so for me, the process leading up to the finalization of my divorce was where I mourned the most because it allowed me to kind of sit in those feelings and sit in the fact that everything I've pretty much known all these years with this person, you know, is going away. There's nothing that I can do to fix it. There's nothing that can be done to fix it. And it's just kind of like I have to feel those emotions. I have to go through those, things that you don't want to go through, the feeling of abandonment, the feeling of, you know, that you're letting people down, the feeling of your children having to experience this as well as you're experiencing this. It's so many things that goes into that. So my divorce was very heartbreaking. Um, However, it allowed me to um, get closer to what God actually wanted me to do personally. I did realize that a lot of what I invested in my first marriage was just all about my husband. It was just all about what he wanted and all about what he wanted to do. And, I kind of lost myself in that. And though I'm not really a fan of divorce, I don't think nobody really is.
Yes. Yeah.
But um, I'm not a fan of divorce, but like I told you offline, the Lord actually had to put me in a place where I completely trusted Him with every aspect of my life. Everything that I had to do, being a mother to my children, being a person that works full time and is trying to raise a family full time. He needed me to be put into a place where, okay, you've depended on this person for so many years. Now it's just you. Now it's just you and your children. You really have to figure it out, but I'm going to help you along the way. So once all of that was finalized and, went to therapy and the whole talking it through and that kind of thing. And it did help. The therapy did help. I had myself and my children in therapy. So I'm grateful for that. But
Mm.
during the pandemic, it was just me and my kids. We were kind of building ourselves up from where we kind of fell.
Mhm.
And, we were just minding our business, honestly, just going through this pandemic like everybody else is going through this pandemic by ourselves. And I got a message from my now husband. He was living in Texas at the time, and I was actually in Cleveland, Ohio at the time. And he sent me a message and said, I'm coming to Cleveland to visit my mom, and I would love to take you to dinner. Completely out the blue, completely not even expecting this man to even just hit me up in my DMs because I don't, we weren't conversing a lot or anything. It's just I knew him. I knew him from family ties and things of that nature. Then I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, let's go to dinner. Let's do this. I already knew who he was. So I'm just thinking this is just a friendly dinner. Next thing I know, I'm getting married and moving to Texas less than a year later. So, we're very happy. He is absolutely someone that I needed in my life. And what's so crazy is a little bit before the pandemic, I was jotting my notes in my phone because I do that now. I
Mhm.
jot down different notes and different thoughts in my phone, and I jotted down things that I wanted in a partner, things that I wanted in a potential relationship. And he meets every single one. I wasn't looking for him. I was just fine being single, just being a mom to my kids. And I guess the Lord must have heard me loud and clear because everything on that list my husband possesses, and I am truly, truly grateful for that.
That is wow. Okay, that is
Yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. Okay, I want to go back a little bit because I want to
Mhm.
ask you, you said something that I hear a lot of women say, and it's something that I have not personally experienced in my marriage, but it doesn't negate the feeling that some wives have felt, and that is you lost yourself in your husband. So
Mhm.
I always ask when I hear women say that, I always ask them, did you lose yourself because before you got married, you didn't have your own identity? And that, is that part of it? Is it part of not having your own identity in Christ?
Mhm.
Because it feels like when you're with the right one, then you
Mhm.
lose yourself. So
Yeah.
how were you, because you're a totally different person
Mhm.
now in this second marriage, of course, versus your first marriage. So when you take us back to your first marriage, what
Mhm.
was the mindset? What was the thought process, before you got married, during the marriage, about you? And
Mhm.
do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And where did the
Yeah.
lose yourself come in to for you?
I think prior to me getting married the first time, I was always the daughter, the sister, the aunt. So it was never a thing of me learning how I tick, learning what I like, learning what makes me upset, learning what doesn't make me upset, learning what makes me happy. I never got a chance to do that because I'm also a twin. So of course, everything has to be shared when you're a twin. You people tend to group you together and you don't have your own personality. You're always intertwined with someone else. And I'm coming from a huge family. I have two brothers and seven sisters, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one of the babies. My sister and myself, we're the babies, and we're just kind of like in the shadows of our older siblings. So when I went out to college, um, I was by myself, but at the same time, I didn't know how to be by myself
Oh, wow.
because I've lived this life with this other person at my hip. And it's like, I don't know how to make friends because I never had to. I got all these sisters and all these brothers and all these cousins. I don't know how to interact with people. So, what I started to do was conform my attitude to how other people would do, or I would, kind of emulate the things that they do. And a lot of times, I'm sorry, did I lose you? Okay.
No,
I
no,
thought I
I'm here.
a lot of times when you do that, you lose your identity. You lose, all aspects of who you really are. And then when I got out of college, I went straight into a relationship with my first husband. So it
Oh,
was never a break in that time frame to where it was like, okay, Leah needs to learn what Leah likes. Leah needs to learn how to be by herself. Leah needs
mhm.
to learn everything that makes her who she is. So, again, coming from a big family and then going into college, trying to conform to whatever it is that they do, and then leaving college and then going immediately into this relationship and just basically not knowing who in the world I am. So, I'm just going to ride his coattail. And I'm going to be the preacher's wife. I'm going to be the girl that sits on the first row with the suits and the gaudy stuff, and it was just a whole bunch of just not me,
Not you at all.
not me. And it's just like, I think in that, when you stop doing those things. And when you do come to the finalization, this is not me. This is not
Mhm.
what this is not what I want for my life. When you come to that point, it's like, okay, now I'm awake. Now I can
Mhm.
see what it is that I really want to do. And I'm grateful for that time frame, about maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years before I met my second husband after my divorce. I'm grateful for that time period because even though I was older, significantly older, it allowed me to understand who I am. And even
Yeah.
to today, sometimes I think to myself, girl, you are a little too outspoken. Or girl, you just don't want to deal with nobody. And it's I've had to, hold my tongue and I've had to, do these things that I really didn't want to do and dress how I really didn't want to dress. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm gonna do what I like, when I like, how I like, and who I want to do it with. And my husband, like he's so easygoing. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. He's so easygoing. He's so whatever you want to do is fine with me.
He let you be you. He let
Yeah,
you be you.
I don't have to do anything extra or do anything that's like, you know,
Jump through hoops.
or more than what I like to do is like, I don't have to follow him around everywhere he goes, or I'm secure in the fact that I know who I am, and I know how I tick, and I know what I like, and it I'm at this point where now where it's just me and this is what you get. So yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that is, I mean, and that makes sense because I always ask women that when, they say they lost themselves, and for everybody is different. It's not
It's so
something that's a right or wrong answer. It's just
yeah.
different for each
Yeah,
woman because being a wife is different. It's not a cookie cutter. It's not a cookie
absolutely.
cutter because marriages aren't cookie cutters. So, and we all have a backstory, and that makes so much sense,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so easy to get lost in the person that you love, because you want to please them and you want to make them happy. But at the same time, your
It shouldn't
happiness
be at the
is
expense of your
important.
happiness.
Exactly. Your happiness is
Yeah.
just as important. And you'll sit there like I was, just as miserable and like, Lord, please get me out of this. Like, what is going on? Like, I need you to help me.
Wow.
You throw out signals like, please, Jesus, I need you to see me. But eventually he's like, okay, now I got your attention. This is what I'm going to do. So,
So, and in that, when you look back on that time, and although it shaped you and helped
mhm,
build character and all of that,
mhm,
the woman you are now, different mind shift, because
mhm.
I'm hearing just that you have a totally different mind
Yeah,
shift, and that's
yeah.
awesome. Would you have gotten married the first time with the mindset that you have now?
You know,
Would it have been different?
it's funny you asked me that because I ask myself that often, often, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Um, that's kind of a twofold question for me. Knowing what I know now, would I get married the first time? No. However, I would not have my beautiful children if I did not get married to him. Um, that I think my children, I think I put a lot into my children because essentially they kind of were my life jackets. They
Mhm.
held me up when I just figured, Lord, I don't want to do this no more. So it's kind of a twofold question for me.
Okay.
If I knew what I knew now and I was, I didn't have any children or anything like that, then no, I wouldn't have gotten married. I wouldn't have even gone through the whole rigmarole
Yeah.
of that whole thing. But if I didn't, I wouldn't have my children. So
Okay. Okay. Now, moving on to the good part,
yes.
with your now
Yeah.
husband,
Yeah.
you are just glowing and cheesing like a teenager, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
So many people say that. So many people say that. I love it.
Your eyes light up. Your eyes
Yes.
light.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh.
He is amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
He He is one of the greatest men I have ever known in my life. I'm like I was telling you offline, I've known him since I was little. And of course, you don't think that this guy that you know since you were a little girl is gonna one day be in your DMs like, I want to take you out to dinner. Like, sir, you talking to me? Like you probably got somebody else's DMs mixed up with mine. You don't think that, and he is absolutely amazing, amazing.
That is awesome. And I had chuckled when you said because he had lived in Texas, like before y'all got
Mhm,
married,
mhm.
he was flying you to Texas
Yeah.
and you
Hmm.
were like, what did he say to you about this is what you do for people you
He said,
love?
well, he said, this is what you do when you love someone. I said, wait a minute, you love me? Like, it's me, little
Because he was flying you out every month, right?
every month, never
Every
failed.
month.
Like
So what
every,
were you thinking? What would you
you
you were just
know,
thinking y'all was just cool? He was doing
yeah,
that
yeah,
what?
like my little naive, silly self. When he asked me out to dinner, I said, sure, no problem. I was cool with that, because like I said, at that point, I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't dating anybody. Um, and I'm one of those moms. I'm not about to have a whole bunch of folks running
Yeah.
around my life because I got children and they're men. So of course I'm gonna guard them as well as I'm guarding me. Um, but he came home. It was a Thanksgiving weekend and it was the best 4 days of my entire life. I mean, we went to one of the most perfect places, Chagrin Falls, and it was ironically like 60 something degrees in Cleveland in November.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
yeah, so that's
Beautiful
gorgeous weather.
weather.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, Lord, are you looking out for me today? Thanks. Appreciate that, sir. But yeah, and then after that, he would tell me, um, I want you to come to Houston. Okay, I'll come to Houston. You know, every month he's like, look for your plane ticket. I'm like, for what? Like, what am I doing? And as time progressed, like we will be on the phone for 2, 3 hours. As introverted as I am, I'm not about to talk to you on the phone for more than 15 minutes. So let's get what we got to say out of the way and let's be done. Girl, on the phone with him 2, 3 hours, just talking about everything and nothing. And, one day I was at work and he was like, I got something to ask you. I said, sure. He said, will you marry me? I said, yes, I sure will. I sure will. It was like a random Wednesday in March or something. And I'm like I was telling you, girl, I don't need no tea light candles going down the aisle and then balloons and the whole. I don't need all of that. Like I'm a very simple girl. Just ask me out. I'll let you know yes or no. And I'm like, yes, I'm definitely, yeah, I would love to marry you. And next thing I know, we getting married on the Tuesday. We packing up to go to Houston on Wednesday. So it was just, it did happen fast. I will say that it did happen fast, but I believe if you know, you know.
Okay.
And add any kind of hesitation when it comes to him. My children love him. He loves
Okay.
my
I was gonna ask you, how do the
oh,
boys, how you get along with the boys?
oh they love him. He's very instrumental in their lives. Very instrumental. He doesn't he doesn't really get in the way of their father. And I appreciate that. But at the same time, I did also let him know there's things that I can't teach them that he, should be able to teach them. And unfortunately, because their dad is disabled and he's not really in a mindset to do so, I appreciate him actually taking the initiative.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
wanting to spend time with my children. A couple days ago, actually, my youngest asked him to go to the basketball court or something with him to, just practice around. He's like, absolutely. I just absolutely love spending time with you. Like for somebody to say that to my child, as big as my mommy heart is for my children, and for you to love my kids just like I love my kids, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh God, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is awesome. So what do you guys, so what strategies do you guys use to maintain, a healthy
Mhm.
marriage? You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
coming from one, and is this his first marriage? Okay.
Mm,
Okay. So then how do you come into covenant? The
mhm.
world calls it a contract, just a piece of paper, but we're
Yeah.
kingdom women. So you come
Right.
into covenant in this marriage. So how do you guys maintain it to be healthy? What does the
Mhm.
communication look like? Because this is new for you in terms of like the honest communication, the openness, just,
Yeah.
you know.
So what we try to do, and this is him knocking everything out.
There's
What we
that hubby.
This is hubby. Hubby, come and say hello. No, they want you on camera saying hello. He's looking for something. I leave
Okay.
it. But what he and I try to do at the end of every day, we try to come together. He goes to work, I go to work. We're taking the kids back and forth. We're doing different things throughout the day. But at the end of every day, we try to stay up. Doesn't matter how late it is, for the other one to come home, and we just sit and we just discuss. We talk. We communicate. If there's something bothering us, you know, be it something's bothering me about him or vice versa, or something's bothering us about the kids,
Hey, hubby.
we try to definitely keep the communications open, because neither one of us came from marriages that were like that.
Okay.
From what he's told me in his previous marriage, there were no conversations. There was always, an argument, and that's it. You spending 2, 3 weeks not talking to each other. I can't operate like that. And
Oh,
same for, coming from my marriage, my previous marriage. You would argue. I'm not talking to you a couple days. I can't function like that. I can't do it. Does something to my system, literally, because we're supposed to be in this together. We're supposed to be in this for better or for worse. And the thing that I do love is that he and I keep all communications open. There's no secrets. There's no, I'm doing this behind your back and you can't know, or, I got to go here and you're not going to know where I am. You know, we call each other throughout the day. Hey, how you doing? You all right? You need anything? Or a quick text. Hey, I love you.
mhm.
I miss you, something like that. So I'm grateful that we do have that communication to where nothing is under the table.
Yeah.
We try to make sure that each other is healthy mentally, because a lot of what we went through, and I mean, he's had a big doozy of a marriage, his last one. So mentally, we try to make sure we're both in good mental states, because that's
Yeah.
so important. That is so important. And we try to make sure, hey, if this isn't right, we need to fix it.
Yeah.
If this is bothering us, or if this is a problem, we need to find a solution. And we work very well together. Like, I've never had an issue to where I couldn't tell him about it, or I told him, he'd be like, "Well, we can't do nothing about it right now. We just gotta wait." Like, no, he's very okay. Let's get
Intentional.
like I think maybe 2 weekends ago, our washer went out on us. The next day, he's like, "We're going to look for a washing machine." Wait a minute, I don't get paid till next week. Hold on, partner. But he's like, "No, let's go." He was like, "We're going. My wife needs a washing machine. We're gonna go and get us a washing machine." And later on that day, we had
Hey,
a washing machine. I'm like, "Okay, well, come on, give us the company with the good husband."
oh my gosh. I know it's like it's the washing machine, but it's the thought, it's the
Yeah,
intentionality of it,
yeah,
being
yeah.
intentional.
Because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, well, the washing machine is going to bring, I wash clothes and everything. But it took a minute for me to do so because the washing machine is acting crazy. So when he gets home, I'm like, husband, I just want to let you know the washing machine is acting nuts. All right, well, we'll go to get another one. Oh, all right. Okay, husband. I'm not going to say a word. All right, husband.
That, oh my gosh. So what are,
Mhm.
no, that is awesome. What type of activities that or hobbies you guys like do together? Like how do you infuse fun and spontaneity into the relationship, into the marriage?
Our favorite thing to do is going to the grocery store. Just the two of just the two of us. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the intimacy of it, going to the grocery store with your significant other, and like we can laugh just about silly stuff, and it's just he and I hanging out. It's hard. It is hard to be spontaneous with his schedule and my schedule because we got so many things that are super demanding between kids and work. Because he's a teacher as well as a musician and he's everywhere, and of course I got the hospital and the kids, so it's just really hard to be spontaneous. But every once in a blue moon he'd be like, get up, get dressed, we going shopping, get up and get dressed, we just gonna go
Okay.
and hang, and sometimes hanging out for the day means to go get the brakes done on the car and go get a car wash, and just very simple things. It doesn't have to be like elaborate or very glamorous, but it's just the simple fact that we're spending time with each other and we're doing it together with no plans, no nothing. We've taken road trips even with all of the kids, and that has been fun because a lot of
Oh yeah, I'm
times,
sure that's definitely fun. That's an
yeah,
adventure in
yeah,
itself, bringing the kids
exactly.
along.
Exactly. And like, teenagers are always in their phones. Like their phones are plastered to their faces. So when we're in the car together, I tell everybody, put your phones down, let's play a game. Let's talk. Let's, do something that actually helps us to mesh as a blended family. And that always works. That's always the one of the fun things to do. Like our kids still talk about some of the road trips that we've taken together because we just make it fun. So yeah, we do some, very simple but just really cute things to kind of,
Yeah.
keep
No,
it.
no, that's good because those are the best like
Yeah,
memories, and
yeah,
it doesn't have to take a $2,000 trip or
right,
something like that. Again,
right.
it's the intimacy, the
Hmm.
thoughtfulness, and the kids
Hmm.
feel it, the
Yeah.
genuine,
Hmm. Yeah.
no, that
Yeah, and
that
they're
is
super out when like we're kissing each other on the couch or like we're cuddled up. Like that my son's like, Mom, really? Like, do you really have to do that right now? We're like, yes, because I want them to see what a healthy marriage looks like.
yeah.
They don't see, we don't argue. I think my husband and I maybe had one major argument. And we don't argue because, and I think that's why I appreciate the communication so much because you deal with so many things and there's nothing under there that can like fester and just be like, okay, well, this has been bothering me for months. No, we deal with it, we talk about it, we work through it, and I think that's helped us not to have arguments and disagreements and things like that, so that helps.
Yeah, because it's not lingering.
Right, right.
That lingering isn't good for
it's,
anyone.
it's the worst,
And
it's
it's
the
and
worst.
it's a quick, I mean, it's one thing to cool off and be like, you know
Mhm.
what? Okay, right now tempers are flared
Yeah,
and neither one of us are hearing each other. So let's like regroup in an hour. Definitely
exactly.
don't go like a whole day, 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
definitely a week without talking. That's
Yeah,
immaturity. But
yeah.
to recognize when you can't talk in the moment is
Mhm.
maturity. But
Yeah.
before the end of the day, before we close our eyes,
Hmm. We
let's
gonna have,
work.
yeah,
Yeah, let's work through it because
absolutely,
you don't want to get an enemy no room to
absolutely.
hmm,
Right
because
about
your mind get to wandering and
that. Hmm.
other unnecessary thoughts. It's like
Yeah,
no, let's calm down and let's have a conversation and come
absolutely.
back in.
Yeah,
Come back
absolutely.
in.
Hmm.
What are you guys long term like vision that
Hmm.
you and your spouse have for the marriage? Be it goals, vision, like when you guys are having conversations.
Right now our kids are teenagers. We're dealing in the teenage years, and a lot of what we have long term goals for pretty much are really about our kids, because they're so talented and they're into so much. Um, I don't really think, honestly, to be quite honest with you, I don't think he and I have discussed goals or long-term goals for he and I personally. Of course, you have the whole let's get the kids through school, and then once they get through school, let's explore, traveling, or let's explore doing something different, just the two of us. But right now, I think we're just so engulfed in our children because he's an excellent father, excellent, provider. He wants to make sure that our children are successful all the way around. Same with me. But I mean, I think once the kids are gone and they're doing their own thing, we'll still be just as deliriously happy as we are now. You know?
Okay.
I think
Okay.
we'll still be in the same, I won't say same, but I think we'll still, our happiness will probably elevate because we'll have more time together and we're constantly getting to know each other. Even
As
though
more as adults.
even though we've
Yeah.
been together for 3 years, there's always something that you're exploring about your partner. It's
Yes, I
you
agree.
know them, but at the same time, you discover different things, be it good or bad, and you deal
Mhm.
with it accordingly. But still, I think we'll be in a place where we can say, okay, now it's us time. What do we want to do with us time? So
Okay.
yeah, I think that's where we are right now.
Okay. But do y'all at least take one day out of the week or the month just to like be by yourselves?
It's required, honey. It is required because
Okay.
I these kids, and so is he. And time, half the time we were just talking about this yesterday.
Okay.
He and I wanted just to go and do something for ourselves, but every time, we're going to purchase something, it's for the kids, or we're doing something for the kids, and it's like, can we not do something for the kids? We were just talking about this yesterday. So yeah, it's definitely at least once, twice a week. Even if it's as simple as waiting till the kids go to bed and he and I have dinner at the table together.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. That's that
it's
marriage
yeah,
maintenance. That's
yeah,
important.
absolutely.
Yeah, because it doesn't always have to be like, okay, we're going outside the
Right.
house. It's just that the
Mhm,
intimacy, finding that time,
mhm.
and all the bustle and hustle of the day.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect example. Even if y'all two having dinner, that's
Mhm.
intimate. That's that
Yeah,
marriage maintenance.
exactly.
That's important.
You know, we don't, we're not, elaborate people. We don't have to have the flashiest and the shiniest. And it's just, when as long as we're together, that's really just he and I. As long as we're together, we're good. We're fine.
It's good. Now, how do you guys, because he's a musician, so you're an administrator at a hospital. He's a musician. So, because I always say marriage is independence and interdependence. So when you're with the right one, you can reach for your goals. So
Yeah.
how important is it for you guys to support each other in your career and your
Mhm.
aspirations separate, from each other? Because you
So coming, coming when I came to Houston, when I first moved here after we got married, I was looking for jobs, and the job I have now, I interviewed for them, and then I interviewed for like a small startup company, and the small startup company called me first, and and my husband, they offered me the job. My husband was like, no, stop. He said, wait until the hospital calls you. I said, well, you don't know if they're going to call me. Like, they're not going to call me and offer me, I'm going to just take this and start up. And if I find something out, he said, no, Leah, wait, because you don't know what they're going to offer you. I kid you not. The next day, the hospital called and offered me the job, paying me way more than I have ever made in my career. And I'm like, how did you know? How did you know? He said, I know what your work ethic is. I know what you're capable of, and I will not allow you to settle in just something that you can get right now when I know that you can reach for something way higher than that. That right there showed me this man actually cares about me being successful, not only in this marriage, but being successful in corporate world.
Oh,
And with him, he's he, we had a thing where he was playing for a Catholic church, and then he was playing for a Baptist church, and then he was playing for a Methodist church. I said, wait. I said, I know you have to bring the money home, and I know that you're so concerned about being a man, and I got to provide, and that kind of thing. But I also want you to consider your soul, because something can be taught at the Catholic Church that's not being taught at the Baptist Church. And then it can all be misconstrued at the Methodist Church. I said, get somewhere where your foundation is solid, because there's so many different things and so many different aspects that are coming at you. And I want your soul to be all right with where you are. I don't want you to be so complacent to the point where you got to say, oh, this is just a check. But while you're making that check, your ear gates are completely open. Your
mm,
ear heart gate is completely open. And I want you to be successful in your faith. I want you to
yes.
understand that you can't hear all of these ideologies. And when you come home, your mind is all over the place because you just don't know what to believe. So
Mm,
I was saying that to him, to tell him, I need you to have this main focus. So you and the Lord can be on one accord. Y'all can just have this relationship here to where it's so solid, nothing else can get through to that. So me saying that to him, I want him to be successful in his walk with Christ. You know, God forbid something happens to me and I reach heaven before he does. I want to see you in peace. I want to see you up there in peace. So our success for each other, be it spiritually, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, um, it's extremely important.
yes.
Made him go to the doctor. Like, he hadn't been to the doctor. Like, your health actually means something to me. Not because I want you to stick around and help take care of these bills and these kids, but no, I want you to be healthy. I want you to be happy. I want you to be able to move and shake like you want to. I want you to be able to, go as you please. Your health really does matter to me. So the success for each other in every aspect is extremely important because we want to enjoy our time together.
Yeah.
Mention we have our kids, we want to be able to enjoy our time with our kids too. So it is very important for us.
No, that is awesome. I am just so happy for you. So
Thank
happy.
you.
I
Thank,
am. I'm
thank
there.
you so much. Thank
So as we wrap up, I always ask this question
you.
to the wives that marriage teaches you more about you than it
Yes.
does your spouse. So what has marriage taught Leah about Leah?
Marriage has taught me to be patient, and it's taught me to have more grace, not only with people, but with myself. Because you go into these marriages and you go into these relationships thinking that you have to be perfect.
Mhm.
Everything be, just right. All the T's have to be crossed, all the I's have to be dotted. But it's never like that, ever. You're going to make mistakes. They're
Mhm.
going to make mistakes. But at the end of the day, just like you want someone to show you grace, show them grace. You have to be patient because not everybody's going to think like you. Everybody's not going to do everything like you do it. And you have to be patient. They have to learn you. They have to understand, how you operate. And same thing with you. You have to learn how they operate. And the more you get to know them, the more you get to know how they move and the things that make them happy and that kind of thing. I
Their
think
love
it's
language. Their love
exactly,
language.
exactly. I think it's important to know that kind of stuff because if I'm giving you flowers and all you want is a hug, I'm looking real stupid. You know what I mean? So, I think, patience and just showing a little more grace has taught me just to, in marriage, just taught me to just take it one day at a time. Every day doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to have some crappy days, but you're also going to have some happy ones. You're going to have a lot of joy in your marriage. And if you're intentional, that's another thing
That's
marriage
it.
is, be intentional about how you are with your partner, how you are, being in this, like you said, this courtship, this kingdom mindset. You have to be intentional in how you love your partner. You can't just, expect them to love you how you want to be loved, and you're not giving that in return. Reciprocity, very important in
Very,
marriage. Very
very,
important.
very
I think
important.
the three things that marriage has truly, truly taught me.
That is awesome. Yes,
Yeah,
intentional. Be intentional how you show up.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Be intentional how you show up.
And never forget to show up for you. Never
I,
forget to,
yes. Yep.
you know,
It's for
like
you.
in
I
your
agree.
marriage, again, you can get lost. You can forget who you are, but always remember to show up for yourself, because at the end of the day, no matter how much you love anybody, you are the most important person to you. You
Mhm.
have to show up for you. You are your biggest advocate. So I think that's where I am right now in life. I'm showing up for me more, and I actually love it. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
I
awesome.
know. I see it all over you.
Yeah.
And again, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, I love it. So, no, thank you for that. And thank you for being our guest of honor. We are honored to have you.
Thank you.
And I hope the wives that were listening are blessed, and those that are seeking
Hmm.
to be wives. Because even if you're not a wife now, you may be dating and heading towards marriage, and you may have some questions.
Hmm.
Um, again, every marriage is different, but it's
Right.
still good to listen to people with wisdom, um, of what they've been through and just different things that they can share, and glean what you can glean,
Yeah.
and everything else, just throw it
Yeah.
out, glean
Yeah.
what you can glean. So we thank you.
Thank
And
you.
and again, I'm DC Constant. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us on all platforms at the Successful Wives Network. And remember, as a wife, you define your own success. And until next time, we'll see you later.